Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a fascinating topic, the manly expectations that men secretly hate. Now, you might be thinking, John, why are we talking about this? Haven't men had it good for, well, basically forever? And to that I say you're not entirely wrong. But just because a group has historically held a position of privilege, doesn't mean they haven't also been subject to some pretty messed up expectations. It's like being gifted a majestic stallion, but the catch is it only runs on a diet of sadness and self-doubt. Let's get started. From a young age, boys are often told to man up and suppress their emotions. Crying is for girls, they hear. This pressure to appear strong creates a culture where men bottle up their feelings, leading to a host of problems down the line. Their mental health, relationships, and ability to feel suffer. Men experience a full spectrum of emotions. Denying them space to express these emotions is unhealthy. It's time we allow men to be emotionally authentic. A world where men can express emotions benefits everyone. Let's talk about the pressure on men to be the primary breadwinner. For generations, men have been told that their worth is tied to their ability to provide. They're raised on stories of valiant knights slaying dragons to win the princess's hand, or in modern terms, landing a high-paying job to secure a partner. And while being ambitious and driven is great, this relentless pressure to be the sole provider can be absolutely soul-crushing. It creates this impossible standard where men feel like they constantly have to be on, grinding away at work, sacrificing their own well-being in the name of providing. They miss out on time with their families, hobbies they love, and even just basic self-care, all because they feel this immense pressure to live up to this outdated and frankly unfair expectation. And the worst part is, this pressure often backfires. Men who are stressed and overworked are more likely to experience burnout, health problems, and relationship issues. It's a lose-lose situation for everyone involved. Next up, we're tackling the age-old expectation that men should be walking, talking, tool-wielding Swiss Army knives of home repair. Apparently, somewhere along the line, possessing a Y chromosome became synonymous with an innate ability to fix leaky faucets, rewire a house, and build a treehouse with nothing but a rusty nail and sheer willpower. But here's the reality: not every man is Bob the Builder, and that's perfectly okay. Some men are perfectly content with calling a plumber, hiring an electrician, or, dare I say it, simply living with a slightly wonky cabinet door. And yet, they're often made to feel inadequate for not possessing these supposedly essential handyman skills. This expectation is not only unrealistic, it also puts undue pressure on men to conform to a stereotype that many of them have absolutely no interest in upholding. It's like expecting a fish to climb a tree. It's just not in their nature. Chapter 4. The Aggression Assumption. Why dominance is a losing game for men. Let's talk about the expectation for men to be aggressive and dominant. This harmful stereotype paints a picture of masculinity that's about as nuanced as a sledgehammer. Men are often told to be assertive, take charge, and don't back down, as if life were some never-ending testosterone-fueled competition where the most alpha male always wins. This pressure to constantly be on top can lead to unhealthy behaviors like suppressing empathy, engaging in risky activities, and resorting to aggression to assert dominance. It's like they're trapped in a never-ending game of who's the manliest man, and frankly, it's exhausting. The truth is, true strength lies in vulnerability, compassion, and the ability to collaborate. It's about lifting others up, not pushing them down. It's time to ditch the outdated alpha male script and embrace a more nuanced, empathetic definition of masculinity. Chapter 5. The Muscle Myth. Why men are tired of chasing the ideal physique. From a young age, boys are bombarded with images of chiseled jaws, six-pack abs, and biceps the size of watermelons. They're told that to be considered attractive, desirable, and even worthy of respect, they need to achieve this often unattainable and frankly ridiculous standard of physical perfection. This relentless pressure to attain the ideal physique can lead to unhealthy behaviors, like disordered eating, excessive exercise, and even body dysmorphia. It creates a culture where men constantly compare themselves to others, feeling inadequate if they don't measure up to this arbitrary and often airbrushed standard. It's time to challenge the notion that a man's worth is tied to his physique. Real men come in all shapes and sizes, and true attractiveness comes from within, from confidence, kindness, and a healthy sense of humor. Chapter 6. The Feminine Fallacy. Why men are over these ridiculous restrictions. Let's dismantle the absurd notion that certain activities or interests are inherently feminine and therefore off-limits for men. This ridiculous binary thinking is about as outdated as a rotary phone and just as limiting. Men are often discouraged from pursuing interests that are deemed feminine, things like cooking, dancing, fashion, or even just expressing their emotions openly. This arbitrary division of interests based on gender is not only absurd, it's incredibly damaging. It limits men's ability to explore their full selves, stifles creativity, and perpetuates harmful stereotypes. It's like telling someone they can only use half of their crayon box. It's just plain senseless. Men should be free to embrace their interests and passions without fear of judgment or ridicule, regardless of whether those interests fall into some arbitrary masculine or feminine category. Chapter 7. The Confidence Con. Why men are tired of faking it till they make it. The expectation for men to always be confident and assertive is like a constant pressure cooker of self-doubt. Men are often told to fake it till they make it, to project an air of unwavering confidence even when they're feeling anything but. This pressure to always appear self-assured can be incredibly isolating. It prevents men from expressing vulnerability, asking for help, or admitting when they're struggling. It's like they're constantly walking a tightrope, terrified of showing any sign of weakness for fear of being judged or ridiculed. The reality is, everyone experiences moments of self-doubt, insecurity, and uncertainty. It's part of being human. And pretending otherwise is not only exhausting, it's also incredibly unhealthy. It's time to normalize vulnerability and allow men to express their full range of emotions, including moments of uncertainty. Chapter 8. The Sex Expectation. Why men feel pressured to always be ready. Let's talk about the unrealistic and frankly exhausting expectation for men to be sexually experienced and always ready for action. This harmful stereotype reduces men to their sexual prowess, as if their worth is solely determined by their ability to perform in the bedroom. Men are often bombarded with messages that equate masculinity with sexual conquest, creating immense pressure to live up to this unrealistic and frankly ridiculous standard. It's like they're constantly expected to be walking, talking Viagra commercials, ready to go at a moment's notice. This relentless pressure can lead to anxiety, performance issues, and a distorted view of healthy sexuality. It's time to ditch this harmful expectation and allow men to embrace their sexuality in a way that feels authentic and healthy for them, without feeling like they have to live up to some arbitrary and frankly ridiculous standard. Chapter 9. The Vulnerability Void. Why men hide their insecurities. Why do men hide their vulnerabilities? Fear of judgment, not appearing manly enough, and being seen as weak. Boys learn early that vulnerability is weakness, something to avoid. This pressure creates isolation and loneliness. It's like a self-made prison, unable to seek help for fear of judgment. But vulnerability is strength. It takes courage to be vulnerable. Showing your true self opens up deeper connections, greater empathy, and a more fulfilling life. Chapter 10. The Protector. Predicament. Why this expectation can be so damaging. The expectation for men to always be the protector is a heavy burden to bear. It's like they're constantly on call, ready to swoop in and save the day, whether it's from a physical threat, an emotional crisis, or even just a spider in the bathtub. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting to protect the people you love. But this expectation can become problematic when it's so deeply ingrained that men feel like they can never let their guard down, can never show weakness, and can never ask for help. It's like they're trapped in a never-ending cycle of needing to be the strong one, even when they're feeling vulnerable, exhausted, or overwhelmed. This pressure to always be the protector can take a toll on their mental health, their relationships, and their overall well-being. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. It's time we challenge these outdated and frankly ridiculous manly expectations and create a world where men feel free to be their authentic selves, vulnerabilities, emotions, and all. Remember, true strength comes from embracing vulnerability, expressing your emotions, and challenging harmful stereotypes. Let's work together to create a world where men feel empowered to be their full, authentic selves without the pressure of these outdated expectations. See you next time.